Following program is for training purposes in TV news education. Some copyrighted material is used and is credited on screen. However, no more was taken than was necessary to tell the story of the event. YBA claims fair use of materials.
It's been over 1 week since the tragic bombing at the Boston Marathon. We recap the emotional week it has been.
Big Poppy comes back with a bang as the super hot Red Sox are streaking as opposed to last year's awful season.
Celtics drop game 1 to the Knicks. Former Celtic Walter McCarty is here to talk about what the Celtics need to do to turn this series around.
Later on, you may find out about Rex Ryan's new favorite sport, toe wrestling.
Hi, welcome into K Sports Sunday here at the Rex Trailer Boomtown Studio. I'm John Hand. Alongside me is Ben Lewis, Jason Siegel, and a very special guest, former Celtic Walter McCarty. Walter, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. Well, it's hard to believe it was almost 1 week ago that the tragedy struck the great city of Boston. Before we get loud and debate everything that has to do with sports, we're going to have a moment of silence to remember Sean, Crystal, Martin, and Lou, and all those injured in the bombing. Thank you. So guys, it has been a crazy week. It started with tragedy, ended in what the Boston police called a victory with the arrest of these terrorists. So I guess looking back on this week, what has it been like?
This has to be one of the craziest and most disappointing weeks in Boston history. I mean, the tragic deaths of so many innocent people, injuries to almost 200, so many people affected, so many lives affected and changed. What it really showed to me was the resilience of this Boston and Massachusetts community. That's the one thing that came out of this. I'm really proud to be a Bostonian today. The work that all the first responders did, the Boston Police Department, and all the citizens who helped in this case.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. Monday started out as a great day. It was almost picture-perfect weather if you're a runner compared to last year's almost record-setting heat. And then it just turned from picture-perfect to tragedy. And then, you know, it became questions, who did this? Because we didn't know until about Wednesday or even Thursday who did this. And then why? We still don't even know the motive. And it's very unfortunate that lives were lost, and it was just people trying to enjoy a nice day. It was school vacation. Walter, what do you think about this tragic event?
Well, it's very unfortunate that it happened in our city, that it happened, period. But like you guys said, to reiterate, it's just great how the city came together. We were able to bounce back, and hopefully the authorities did a great job of finding who was responsible. And now we can look forward to new things, and we have to really focus on those who are affected. But may our thoughts and prayers be with them. But it's time to move on. Hopefully, nothing like this will happen again.
Very true. It is time to move on. As next, we have a package from Nicholas Gabriel on the tributes paid to Boston.
I'm Nicholas Gabriel, and this is my sports video blog for the week of April 21st. As I look back in the week of sports, I remember all the tributes for the Boston Marathon bombings, not just here, but all over the USA. At yesterday's Red Sox game, the team did not wear their traditional white uniforms with Red Sox on the front. Instead, they put Boston on these uniforms and will be auctioning them off for charities to support the victims. Another big story yesterday was the return of Big Papi. We know him as David Ortiz. You might remember a year ago, Big Papi suffered an injury. I'm glad he's back. He had 2 hits and a 4-2 win over the Kansas City Royals. Their 7th win in a row. The Royals also showed their support by wearing a Be Strong patch with a Boston B on it. Neil Diamond came out to swing Sweet Caroline in the 8th inning when the Red Sox rallied with a 3-run home run by Daniel Nava. Volunteers, law enforcement, and first responders were also in attendance and honored by the crowd. That's my sports blog for this week. I'm Nicholas Gabriel.
Some great tributes paid to the Boston Marathon of 2013 by sports teams and cities all over. My personal favorite was the New York Yankees with the sign in front of Yankee Stadium and the swinging of Sweet Caroline in the 7th inning game the day after the Boston Marathon happened. Guys, what are your favorites?
Well, I was at that Bruins game where Rene Rancourt handed it over to the crowd to finish the national anthem for him. And let me tell you something, it was completely unbelievable. For the whole week, you've heard about Boston strong, we will unite. And right there in that moment, you really felt Boston uniting. And that was something that was truly magical.
I like the Boston Red Sox coming home after they were in Cleveland. How they had the Be Strong, the Red Sox logo, the B with the words strong under it on the green monster, and how they had allowed a lot of the first responders to come to the game and watch it, and it was a very nice gesture. And then also, like the Bruins, another tribute they did today is the players gave their jerseys out to some of the first responders today, which was a very nice gesture.
Walter, what have been some of your favorite tributes that you've seen so far?
Really, to be honest, all of them. Just seeing how everybody has rallied together, and people have really just shown how much they appreciate the first responders and just appreciate everybody who was involved. And it's you know, the Bruins game when everybody, you know, sung. I would have loved to have been there to feel that. And just the Celtics, you know, the Celtics, what they've done with the patches. The Yankees, you know, playing that song, Sweet Caroline, you know, just showing their support, just to understand that rivalry and how much they're supporting our guys as well. I mean, it's just been great.
Walter, you played in Boston. You know what it's like, how intense this place can be. And we keep hearing about this healing process. How much do you think sports will be a factor in the healing process?
I think it's a big factor, because I think, you know, for people to, you know, just people who've been involved in this for, you know, who've been up on the front lines of this and for 2 days straight, and people were involved. I think just being able to give them a distraction from that, take their mind somewhere else, and let them, you know, see a ball game, watch their favorite players or their favorite teams, and hopefully get some joy out of that. But I think it's very important because it takes their mind away from it and allows them to experience something different.
Definitely. Now we're going to change topics and go into some Boston Celtics talk. We're going to recap their first game of their first playoff series against the New York Knicks. First play here, you see J.R. Smith driving and finishing at the rim over the Celtics' Jeff Green. A big dunk, big momentum swing. Jason Terry gets stuffed by Kenyon Martin. Absolutely stuffed, trying to finish at the rim with his dunk of his own. Terry with a little height disadvantage there, but that's okay. Melo with some and-one mixtape ball handling and the fallback jumper to hit to boot. And here you see J.R. Smith with a windmill-esque layup to really ice the game. Right around Kevin Garnett, an acrobatic finish. Phenomenal play as you see on replay. Guys, a disappointing loss. Celtics played good for most of that game. Knicks defense was too much and the Celtics rebounding was too little. How do you guys feel about the Celtics loss?
Well, certainly when you turn the ball over 21 times, and then when you have guys like Carmelo Anthony and J.R. Smith on the other side, you really can't win when you turn the ball over 21 times, and rebounding is an issue. If they want, with Carmelo Anthony going off for 36 points, he shot just under 50% with 14 of 29 shooting. They can only give the Knicks one chance. They got to rebound defensively off New York misses, and they just weren't able to do that yesterday.
They were not able to do that yesterday. Too many second chance points for the Knicks. Walter, what do you feel like the keys were to that game?
I think the two biggest keys that stood out, and you guys are right, the Celtics played very well. It was a game that more than likely we should have won. And I think the two biggest keys are rebounding. You know, we played them pretty well defensively, but then we let them get 2 or 3 second, third shots at the rim, which really kills your defense. And the last thing is just, anytime we attack the rim, they put us on our butts. They got a first and second foul. You see Kenny Martin, after somebody already got fouled into the rim, he made sure he laid a body again on them. So that was the difference. When they went to the rim, they finished with the and one or a dunk. And our guys, they ended up their butts on the floor. So we have to stop that. We have to stop letting them get to the rim. Or if they do get to the rim, make them pay. We also have to finish the play with rebounds.
Walter, you said with the rebounding, who do you think needs to step up? We know there's KG. They got Zena. I'm going to mention Randolph. They got him from China. I can't say his first name. And DJ White also from China. Who needs to step up? Those guys are all the big men. Who else needs to step up and rebound?
Well, it's a little different because we're going to play unconventional lineups. It's just to try to combat what they're doing. So we're not going to have a center and a forward on the court at all times. Sometimes it might just be forwards, on the floor. So it's got to be they have to rebound. It's got to be the team that's rebounding. It just can't be just Kevin Garnett or Randolph or Bass. It has to be everybody. Everybody has to rebound as a unit, and to make sure that they get bodies on their men and then go chase the ball down. Everybody can rebound. It's not just one person's job. We need everybody, especially when we're playing small. We got to get Courtney Lee and Jason Terry. Who's ever on the floor, all those guys have to come back and rebound, whether they're rebounding the free throw line area or chasing down long rebounds, because New York Knicks shoot a lot of threes, so that just means there's going to be a lot of long rebounds.
How about the bench, too, guys? Basically non-existent in Game 1. And coming into the season, that was something the Celtics were going to rely on heavily because they're an older team and they need the bench to step up. They added guys like Jason Terry and Courtney Lee, and I didn't see them play well, I should say, in Game 1.
Yeah, the bench had like 4 points last night. It was a really, really bad game from the bench. I'm disappointed in the Celtics bench considering the fact that they've been pretty good all season long. They're not the deepest team in the league, you could say that, and they don't have the most size, but they need to be much more physical. They need to attack the rim, and they need to play a lot better defense to slow down the scoring of Carmelo Anthony and J.R. Smith.
Teamwork is always a big aspect of basketball, and especially for the Celtics. Without their floor general, without Rajon Rondo, and with older guys banged up, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, you need guys like Courtney Lee and Jason Terry to step up, whether it's scoring. We saw Jeff Green step up with 26 points, but Jeff Green is no Carmelo Anthony, partly because of his injury, and he's also younger. So guys like Courtney Lee and Jason Terry need to step up. And Brandon Bass, he scored 27 points in a playoff game against the 76ers. He has struggled a lot, but if he could find his stride, he had 10 rebounds last night for the Celtics. But if guys like Brandon Bass, Courtney Lee, and Jason Terry need to step up.
Definitely. Walter, who do you feel, or what players would you like to see more of in the offensive swing?
Well, for us, we don't have a lot of room to say we need this guy. We need all those guys on the floor and starting five to produce. We need Jeff Green to have a big game. We need Kevin and Paul both to have big games. Avery has to play really well. Jason Terry has to play well. We have to have him knock shots down because we don't really have an inside presence where somebody can demand the ball and potentially score every time or get a foul. But all those guys have to play well, and somebody off the bench, has to play really well. Whether it's Crawford or somebody has to be able to come off the bench and just give us a little life, give us some spark until our guys can get rested and just get us through that time period.